Right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to another session for GAMPRG2. Today I'm going to teach you how to create a data asset in C++, how we can use it in our project, and um, maybe something like best practices, no, how to use data assets. So before I begin, does anyone have any questions regarding last our last meeting or anything about the project? None? Okay, sige. If there are no questions, we can start. So, um, I believe, wait lang, let's go. Have you guys used data assets before? In ever? No? No? No way. So, the equivalent of data assets is in Unreal is a serialized object. So what we use for data assets is for um in its name, just data. We only want to use it to get data. We don't really want to use it to uh for any functionality or for any um setting of data. No, we only use it to get data. So what it looks like in Blueprint. So if we go right click in anywhere in the content folder, we go to saan nga ba yun? Miss Celianus, we have data asset. So if you create one, you can choose where is that? Ay, di pala. Sorry. You need to create a blueprint of it muna. You have to create a blueprint. We go to data asset and then primary data asset. So let's say this is wave data. So this is the blueprint. This is not yet the actual data asset. This is where we say what will we have in it. What data should we have inside the data asset? So, kayo, what do you think should a what kind of data should we have for the wave? Sir, base pa yung kung kailan mag-spawn. Kung kailan mag-spawn at ilan ng type of enemies. Okay, saan mo ginamit? Okay. I was like, inisgot mo. Parang sagot mo na before I even ask. But yeah, we use that for yung waves, no? Pero before that, what should a wave data asset have? What kind of data should it have? Anyone? You don't have to give everything. Pwede natin isa-isahin to. Enemies that you will spawn and the number of enemies to spawn. Okay, all right. So let's work with that. Uh, Number of enemies to spawn. So sige, we can work with that. So we can have an int of number of enemies, which is like an integer. And then the enemies that you will spawn. Then number of enemies. Then you'll have enemy to spawn. This will be enemy. Fast reference. Pwede. What else pa? Remember, each wave dapat may mag-change. Well, technically, you can also just manually type it. I mean, put it in your code mismo, like kada wave. But sige, what else pa? What else should we have for wave data? What other data should we have for the wave? Implying that we don't use the um wave index or pang ilang wave na to. Anyone? Ah, so besides that, we also have, let's say, um, wave gold, meaning when the wave is finished, the player gets this wave gold. We could also have maybe a gold multiplier, no? So this would be like how much. Let's say initially, no, they have each enemy only gives 30. How much should we multiply so that increasing gold? So let's say like each wave you can say like from 1.1 magiging 1.2, 1.3, etc, etc, right? Number of enemies, enemy to spawn, wave gold, gold multiplier. Ayan. So we can have this for data. Then what can you do with this? So after that, you can go like um create an actual data asset. So if we go to MISC, we go to data asset, andito yung wave data. So we call this wave data asset 1. And then inside here, we have the values. Uh, wait lang ah. Baka masyadong malit to. Display. Change the display lang. Hold on ah. Let me pause. None. Okay. Sorry. Ano napos ko yung recording. But forgot to play it. Anyway, let me just tell to the recording. Here's our data assets. And then these are wave data asset. I forgot where I stopped. So MISC, data asset, and then you can choose wave data. This is where you set it, how we use it. Uh, maybe something like this. Right? When you spawn enemy, get the wave data asset, enemy spawn, etc. etc. We inject. Maybe sorry, I'm just doing this for the recording. For maybe game mode actually handles all the wave data assets like an array and then it injects it to the spawners. So something like that. Okay. Our recording is now in sync. Is it possible to use data assets for waypoints, sir? Say path 1 and path 2. You could have but it won't have ano. It won't have actual game objects. You can have maybe path na integer. And then in your code, you're gonna check if path 0 do this, if path 1 do that. That or maybe you can have an enum. So gagawa ka ng enum for it, path 0, path 1, any. So you can do that. Kaya mo ng ano, integer, string. Kung gusto mong string, okay. Okay lang din. Pero not actual game objects. We will not set anything on a data asset, supposedly. Technically, you could. What happens is when you set something, it actually saves into the data asset here. I think just like in Unity. when you create a serialized object. Right. Any more questions? None. Okay, I'll give you an idea. Um, what if you want what if you want a more customized wave data? What does it mean? What if I want multiple kinds of enemies in a wave data? And not only that, I can choose maybe spawn five of this enemy, spawn five of this enemy, and then that's it. How would you do that? What if I want multiple enemies in a wave? How would you do that? And to make it more complicated, what if I wanted a X amount of enemies for that? So let's say I want 20, two of these enemies. After that, I want two of these other enemies. After that, I want another two of these enemies. So, Kayo, how would you do that? So this is not really required, but uh, I want you guys to think a bit if uh, you could. Anyone? Because sure, I can have maybe a instead of just a single, I could have an array of it, right? Problem is, you can't really hold how many of this, how many of um another enemy, right? And then to make it even more complicated, what if I wanted to make them to spawn maybe um hold on. What if yeah, that's too more complicated. Anyone? No? Top of your mind? What do you guys think would you need to do? One. Okay. So maybe if I wanted more data, I could use a struct. So this is in how we do it in Blueprint. So you're gonna have to create a struct that is it here? I think it's Blueprint. Is it Blueprint? Struct. Nope. Not Blueprint. It's another one. Nope. Not. Disk. It's nothing but disk. Where did you put struct? I think it's Blueprint. Here we go. A structure. So just like in a struct in C sharp, no? So this can be like a enemy data question mark. So I could go maybe this is for the enemy, and then I can add another variable. So this is for enemy class. I can add another variable. This is for enemy amount. Um, int. Sure. It's already there. Could add more here. Maybe like timer for it or not. Pwede yun. So instead of just a an array of it of the class, we can do wave enemy data. An array of the enemy data. So what would it look like? It would look like this. With this, I can control, maybe I want them to spawn 5 here, and then after that, they'll spawn another kind of enemy, and 5. Problem is, they have number of enemies. So medyo they're kind of messing with each other, no? Kailangan dapat same amount of yung total amount nito sa dito. So instead of the variable, we can just create a function, get total enemies, and then make it a pure. The pure, it's just so no, you don't have to connect stuff. I'll be like local variable total integer, and then I'll be like each for each of this, I'll split this one instead of array single. I'll be like plus. I'm sorry. Element amount. Let's make it cleaner. And then set. And then this one will have an output of integer amount. Let's make this a bit clean. I don't want so many wires that are just around, no? Ooh. Ooh. Whatever. It will like that. All it is doing is just for each loop, and then I'm looping through the enemy spawn, the struct, adding all the amount, putting in a total. My return is this. So what would that look like? So in the game mode, maybe um what's this? Can have like set total enemies. And we can go like get total enemies. And there we have it. Then you can have like a total enemies. So it look like that, right? So that's one more way of doing it. Is this required? Not really. You're not required to do a struct, but it's a good thing. Like if you want more customized way of spawning enemies, so that hindi lang just one type of enemy per wave. This one you can do multiple. You can make this even more complicated. Maybe you want it to be like a hardcore one. Instead of this, I mean, to add this, maybe you like spawn delay. You can have this. Uh, where can we use it? Spawn delay. So in our spawner, um, you would have like uh set timer by event, spawn enemy, but uh the time would be hold on. Okay, maganda dito. It could be like so, somehow you're gonna have to count first, no? Kung ilan na spawn mo. And then after all of that, set timer by you have a branch here. And then if this is true, meaning you still have more to spawn, you'll be like set timer by event. This is the spawn wave, spawn enemy. The timer would be What did we use? Ah, wala na to. This is not gonna work anymore because we used this one, an array. We get um enemies spawn. I'll go here. We can split this. Enemy class. And then we can have for here, if the amount is less than, I will still spawn that. Spawn it. Ah, we also don't forget the plus plus. Oops. Plus plus. So something it is. That it's false. We should set this to 0 again. And then, oh wait, sorry. Enemy spawn. Di pala, you'll have like an index here. And index. Not this one. Enemy index. Enemy spawned. 0 again. And then index is plus plus. Anyway, again, this is more complicated than yung usual. You don't have to do this, but I'm just showing you that this is one way. Oops. So if you want more complicated things, you have to, the code becomes a little bit more complicated. Okay, questions? Grabe, no? Mas complicated na ngayon. Okay, we can split this up by execution. Grabe. There's a way to split this. Is it not execute? Switch. Nope, nope, nope. I forgot. I forgot the code for that. Questions? Questions? None? Okay. How do we do that in C++? Okay, so C++ na tayo. In order for you to create a data asset, just like in Unreal where you have a blueprint, so that's me control shift S, blueprint for the wave data, you need to have a C++ of the wave data. So go to all classes, wala siya dito eh. Yung data asset, wala siya dito. It's an all classes data asset. Primary data asset. I'll call this wave data. Kasi gagawin ko dito yung ano, yung complicated para I want to do complicated. Would you guys follow if I did the complicated more? If I did the complicated one. Do you want the chill, yung chill muna, yung kanina? Ikaw mo lang sasagot, gagawin ko yung ano. Mas complicated. The more complicated, the more you learn, no? Okay, fine. I won't. Uh-huh. So, we have the CVP, header file. Same thing. Uh, let's go public. So the public, we have our um, p subclass of no, subclass of uh, a enemy character. Did I name it a enemy character? There it is. So let me just forward declare that enemy character. So piece of class of a enemy character, um, enemy type. Don't forget, u property edit anywhere. Enemy type, um, gold multiplier, u property edit anywhere. Float gold multiplier, u property edit anywhere. Kaso no. Int amount of enemies. Then new property, edit anywhere, and gold, wave gold. Okay. In this case, I want blueprint. So this is really up to you how you do this now. There are two ways for you to do this. Who will hold the array of data assets? There are two ways. One, all the spawners will hold the array of data assets. Second, um, game mode holds the array of data wave data assets and then injects it to each um, spawner. So who, who would have done the first? How many would have done the first? All spawners have the array of wave data assets. None. Who would have done game mode holds the array of wave data assets. And then each wave, it will inject the right data asset. None? Uh, how would you have done it? A or B? No one wants to do. So right. B. B is the game mode. No, game mode holds the array of wave data assets. Yeah. So this one, it's really up to you. For me, the right one, or at least the best one, is B, so that in case na, oh, what if I want to change the data asset for, like, I want to change a different, I want to use a different kind of data asset. If you did the first one, you would have to manually remove and then add, or maybe just replace the um old wave data asset on whichever index that was, and then it has to, and then you replace it with a new one. So that's one hassle. Second hassle, both of the arrays, both of the spawners should contain correct um the correct data asset in the correct order, right? So yun yung medyo hassle. Third, Uh, if you're gonna say if we're gonna add, if we're gonna give the gold, the wave gold on the end, paano mo gagawin? Does that mean you're gonna access the spawner, get the current wave to get the wave gold? Medyo weird, no? So for me, it is the game mode. Okay? So here we have that. So in demo game mode, I would have a so this is class. Oh, we can forward the we can just declare yung wave data. Oops, sorry. Include wave data. Then I would have a t array of um what is this? U wave data. U wave data. Asterisk wave data array. Make this a U property edit and where blueprint. I don't wanna write blueprint read only. Then you would also have int wave data index. You know which index we are in. You'd also have um, data index, amount of enemies to spawn, int amount of enemies. So you have a new property and blueprint read only. Right? What happens is when I'm gonna spawn a wave, um, you have void spawn wave. Ah, we need the array. The array of spawners. Class a spawner. The array of a spawner. Spawners. Spawn wave. So what's gonna happen is all the spawners. Wait lang, let me just double check. Spawn enemy. Uh, I'll do start spawn wave. So I'll do like for, don't forget, include spawner, not h. A spawner in spawners. Here we go, spawner dot start spawn wave, I think. This is spawners. Don't forget the asterisk. Lagyan natin ng class u wave data. No, let me just include it here. Wave data. Wave data. Wave data. Okay, we have spawn. Start spawn wave, and then where are we at on the spawn wave? Um, on wave index, wave data index, uh, um, wave data array, wave data index array. Ayan. So what happens is game mode tells when to spawn the wave, and then when it starts spawning a wave, it'll call all the spawners start spawn wave, which will be like uh in here. Let's also create a wave data and a private new wave data, wave current, wave data. You would also have an amount of enemies. So where are we at? Ah, so you'll be like current wave data equal to wave data, and then you have a timer. Get world timer manager start set timer. For this, I will have timer handle. Spawn timer handle. You have set timer. You have spawn timer handle. Um, how fast? Oh wait, which one are we using here? Delegate. What's my delegate? F timer delegate. Delegate equal to the bind u object, u function. This ampersand a spawner spawn wait spawn enemy. Hold on, is it bind u object? Yeah, u object. Don't forget, um spawn enemy should be a u function. Okay, delegate. What else do you have? Rating, up to you. This could, you could get it from the wave data. Let's just say 0.5f. It'll be better if it's from the wave data. Where's our loop? False. True. Right. And then here, spawn enemy. Instead of this, it will be current wave data. Um, enemy type. And then of course you'll be amount of enemies plus plus. If amount of enemies is greater than or equal to current wave data, the arrow enemies, amount of enemies, we will stop our timer. Never mind. Okay. What happened? So again, wave data, we have this wave gold, amount of enemies, gold multiplier, enemy type. And how we use the enemy type, what we first did was we inject the the in the spawn wave. We inject the wave data array, the wave data index, running current na wave data index. This one is going to be iterated, giving plus plus each time the wave ends. Okay, this will be plus plus when the um wave ends. You can have also here if wave data array is valid index spawn index, oops, wave data index not. So if it's not valid, you can you can choose not to use anymore. But anyway, so start spawn wave. This is the current wave. Uh, Delegate is the spawn enemy. I'm gonna loop it every 0.5 seconds. And it's looping, 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 looping. And then it's looping this, the spawn enemy. So each time it's doing this. And then I have a check here. If the amount of enemies is more than the amount of enemies, we can invalidate. So, uh, no. So, yun. One problem I can see right now is the amount of enemies. Where is that? Sorry. The amount of enemies here is not correct because what if there are two spawners, and we said here for each we start the wave, so we have a problem. If there are two spawners, the amount of enemies will be twice. If there are three spawners, the amount of enemies that is being spawned is thrice. So we could have maybe a spawn wave. Um, ayun pala. To start spawn wave, we can have maybe. Let me put this here. U wave data, wave current, wave data is equal to that. This one here, this one here. We have int amount of enemies. So this will be current wave data. Sorry. So wala tayo. We do have a wave data. Hey, what am I missing? I'm sorry. Here. Int amount of enemies. Amount of enemies. Amount of enemies divided by spawners dot num. So you have to be careful. What if it's not divisible into a whole number? So you have to do a right. You have to do a proper check here, or just make sure the amount of enemies here is divisible by the amount of spawners. It will be a whole number. Well, anyway, so yeah, we can have amount of enemies, and then we set that. Oh, let's rename this enemies to spawn. enemies to spawn. We can do like amount of enemies equals to enemies to spawn. And then instead of this, we just do minus minus if amount of enemies is less than or equal to 0. Spawn timer invalid. Okay. With that, what's gonna happen? Um, if we call spawn wave, you know what? I'll show you. We have a level here. World setting, repeat demo game mode. Don't forget, how do we set up? How do we get this spawners? Using the, I think, gameplay statics. I think that's the right one. On begin play, get all actors. No, get all. Okay, who owns it? Get all actors of class C++. You can play statics. Gameplay statics. Get all actors of class. Get world. Hmm. What's this? Spawner. A spawner. Static class. We out it into a spawner. Sorry, spawners. Spawners. This is gonna work. A actor. Uh, the array of a actor. Actors. I know. Yeah. Actors. And then for a actor. Actors. Um, spawner dot add if a spawner is equal to cast a spawner actor. If I'm able to cast it to an a spawner. Okay. So this all happens at the start on begin play. I'm getting all the actors of this class, put it all in this array, and then for each, I'm gonna add them into the spawners. Okay, so we have that. Set that up. Spawn wave. Start spawn wave. Okay, I think that should be enough. Compile. Questions so far on what we just did. We just created the wave data asset. on my on the spawner I created like a start spawn wave which just holds the current wave data, amount of enemies. I have the timer. It will keep looping until all enemies are have been spawned, and then um can stop it. Oh, I just forgot to check. Hmm, found afterwards. Okay, that was an error because I think I have actors here. Yeah, and then spawn wave. Let's make spawn wave a new function. Blueprint callable. Hmm. Okay, so if I check our BP demo game mode, we should have in here. We should have the wave data. That's not it. What did we have? E property edit and wave data array. I think this is messing it up. Do I want to change? Ah, no, this game mode, please. This one. What did I have here? Timer. Here we go. Active spawn wave data array. So I can put in here the wave data assets that we've done. Let's go create a wave data assets blueprint wave data. So there are two wave datas. One of it is the C++. Do I know which one? I honestly don't. Let's just call this BP. Oh, sorry. Wave data. There we go. Wait. No, no, no. We don't need to do that. I think we can go immediately. This is data asset. This is the old one, the BP wave data. This is the one we just created. Wave data. Wave data one. Well, it's the same thing though. But if you check, there's multiply muna, amount of enemies, wave gold. I think the old one has enemy spawn, wave gold, gold multiplier. We will have path here. Just so you know, it's we're working with a new one. So we have like BP enemy, maybe 1.1. Amount of enemies 10. Wave gold 100. Okay. So we have wave data one. All right. So there's that. And then let's go spawn it. Spawn wave. Uh-huh. So where's your spawner? That has to be a spawner. Why are you like that? Bad. Why are you bad? I think it's these ones. All right, let's delete this old one. Come back. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Does this have the waypoints? Yep, it has the waypoints. And then after what's this? No, this the this one. After 5 seconds, let's go call spawn roof. After 5 seconds, are you gonna explode? I don't think I have a. Ooh. Access violation. Spawner 17. Spawner 17. Ah, because I called spawn enemy somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. I can have a check here. If current wave data is equal to null, return. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Is the world settings work? BP test. Who was that a while ago? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. It spawns 10. It spawns way more than 10. What did I miss? What did I miss? Spawn amount of enemies minus spawning. How many did I spawn? How many did I even set? 10. Spawn. Minus. Ooh. Why aren't you? If it is less than, should invalidate. Wrong one. Get world timer manager. Clear timer. Uh, Spawn timer handle. That one. And then we can also have it just invalidate. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 8, 9, 10. And there you have it. Let's go create another one. Let us make it follow the same route. Um, what's your first waypoint? Let's make it go straight to the second waypoint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. And there you have it. Okay. Questions? Clarification? Does that make sense? Did whatever I just typed make sense? Or is there something that you want to clarify from what we just did? No questions? Oh, I mean, after this, it would get like, wait lang. Do I have character? Let's put that in here. A level run character. What did I name it? Demo actor. A demo character. So you have to know when the wave ends, no? So you'd be like play before the plus plus. Player gold. Where did I put gold? Did I not put gold on our demo character? I forgot where I put our gold. It was on the enemy. Uh, demo demo character can have like int gold. Uh, wave data array, wave data index, gold. Okay. Anyway, so this you have to know when to call this. You have to know when all the enemies are dead. Questions? No questions? Okay. If there are no questions, yeah, that's it for today. You can feel free to message me if you have any questions or you need any more help in your project. I'll reply to you as soon as I can. All right. So yeah, that's it for today. You guys can go and enjoy now night. And again, everyone keep safe and I'll be seeing you guys, I think next, maybe not next week. Wala rin ako next week. I'll be checking capstones by December na ito eh. Next week. December 5? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for the day. You guys can go. Bye-bye.